Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and I'm out here on the patio trying to frantically get a live stream going. I have no idea how this is working. We lost our power here this morning. Have no Wi-Fi. I'm uploading here on 5G cellular, and we have some people watching, so obviously it's getting out. So this is morning coffee. Drink it if you got it. And with that, it's starting to rain, so I have to move back a little bit out of the mist. Here we are. Yes, this is professional show business, ladies and gentlemen. Not going to be the smoothest video that I ever put out, but just really wanted to let you all know how it's going over here. There we go. Got me centered. I'll show you what it looks like out there. We're getting the final remnants of the tail end of this thing. The wind has died down. It was really howling. Fortunately, other than a power failure, we've had almost no damage at all. So I'm juggling lighters, cigars, coffee. Drink it if you got it. I certainly am. I got up at 6 this morning and discovered that I had maybe the most powerful human being on the planet Earth, with tremendous forces acting at my beck and call. When I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, the power was on. We did have power. My son and daughter-in-law had said, if we're not up yet and you're up at 6, wake us up. Wake us up. I said, no problem. So I woke up at 6. I got dressed and checked things, checked my house, and I can do that online. My house suffered no damage. It was as if there almost wasn't a storm there. All my electronics were still working. My power was still on. All my cameras worked. I was very relieved that I had absolutely, what appears, no damage whatsoever to my house. So for that, I am just so relieved. You have no idea. It was only 2 or 3 days ago, with these dire predictions of this monster, life-destroying storm, I was seriously, in my mind, going to places where, okay, now where am I going to live? So for me, sitting over here at my son's, and I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at. So I'm going to take 1 second here and show you what I'm looking at. So if for some reason I happen to hit the wrong button like I did yesterday and the screen goes blank, it'll take me a few seconds to get back in, but I have to turn the camera around on this phone. We have to go into settings, camera, and I have to go to this camera here and do that, and there you go. That's what I'm looking at. Looking at the intercoastal. I'm looking at the dock out back, which is not underwater. The 3 and 4 foot waves that were rolling in yesterday are gone. We have a misty rain right now. Could barely make out the other side of the intercoastal waterway, but all things considered, not a bad view. Not a bad view. It's going to be probably until later in the day that I can actually get out of here because, as what usually happens in any storm, being right on the river like this road is, it floods. And we've got to wait for it to recede a little bit. But if you got to be stuck someplace, this is not a bad place to be. Hopefully, this power outage won't be real long, but I'm afraid that it might be. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat that goes by, but in this landscape orientation, I only see 2 or 3 messages at a time. I see Craig Smith is here. How you doing, Craig? Cliff Medina chimed in. Good to see you. I see Lori Weitzel's here. Oaktown Girl, Jerry Vodstrich, how you doing? CB, how you doing, my friend? Brenda Paris is here. Quicker Ticker. Loco Emu 2, good to see you. Sandy Blythe, and I'm sorry about shaking the camera if I am, but I'm trying to scroll down on these things. Booby Goats, how you doing? Marcia Esterling is here. B. Pierce is here. Wanda St. Louis, wow, look at you all. Thank you so much. Terry, good morning to you. Richard Williams is here. Julia Wigger, holy cow, 154 people came in to either see if I'm still living or how it turned out. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that. I think I'm going to try to turn the camera back. I don't know, maybe you'd rather watch the pretty view than see my face, but I think I want to turn the camera back around, and I hope I don't screw up like I did yesterday. If it goes black, stick around. I'll have to just go log back in. There we go. Settings, camera, and let's go to the facing front camera. There we are. And go like this. Close the settings. Yes, yes. Okay, let me set myself up here. I told you that these cigars are very stress relieving for me. And at this time, it especially is. Now, I'm using my son's lighter this morning. I I'm sorry to say that his lighter is not musically and magically possessed like my lighter is. So there's going to be no happy music this morning, unfortunately. But excuse me while I light my cigar. Okay. Now, two of the most important things in hand. I'll tell you, I'll tell you what it was like overnight. We all finally got to bed after midnight. We stayed up till 11 o'clock to see the 11 o'clock update. The updates all along were nothing but improvements for the entirety of yesterday. What went from one of the fifth most powerful storms in recorded history down to when it finally got over here was a run of the mill category 1 storm, which can do damage, certainly can cause power failures. And in the county where we are right now, they've got close to 100,000 power failures. I can't Earlier this morning when the power failed, and I was telling you why I was the most powerful. I have to finish this story, sorry. I'm telling you why I was the most powerful man on the planet Earth. I went in at 6 o'clock in the morning to wake up my kids, or 6:15, and the power was still on. I should have known better. I woke them up. How you doing? Good morning. And what words came out of my mouth? Should have known. Well, at least the power is still on. 5 seconds later, black. My son looked at me. Well, I think he looked at me because it was dark, and all I heard was, "Thanks a lot." And even though I knew that it was nothing that I could have done, the timing of that just made me feel responsible for the fact that the neighborhood lost power at that instant. At that instant. And right before that, on my way to wake them up, I stopped by the Keurig machine to make myself a cup of coffee. I filled the jug with water. I went in to wake them up, and the power failed, and I never did get the coffee. So my son got up and scrambled, got the generator running, got us some power back, and that was great. And we were able to watch the morning news on TV and see the beginning of the parade of devastation that we're going to see. I think pretty much throughout the day. And my my heart goes out to so many people whose lives have just been completely upended by this. This was a very, very historical and monumental storm for the west coast of Florida, even for so many areas inland. And we are incredibly fortunate. I will give credit to all of you, all the good wishes, all the prayers. I don't think counted for nothing. I think that there is some cosmic karma, and for that I thank you. I have been doing nothing but reading comments to these few videos that I've put up over the past couple days, and heartwarming, heartwarming. My thanks go out to you. The good news is we're okay. We're okay. I'll excuse me. I'll know when I get home. I'll know when I get home whether there was any minor damage, but I have cameras all around my house. I can still see them from here. All my network infrastructure, my spectrum, internet access, everything is still working. Still have power, even though I do have battery backups on where my food is in the freezer, and all the network stuff. So everything, including the cameras and all that, still works. I carried a lot of stuff over here with me, and fortunately, I won't need to break all that stuff out. I have 4 different computer systems. I brought every hard drive. I have every bit of my digital life with me, and we're going to take it home as soon as I can get out of here, set it up. And if I set it up in time, I will have a private community live stream tonight. I don't know if that's going to happen because I have no idea how long it's going to take me until the road clears enough for me to drive out of it. And my son is fortunate enough to live right on the river in a beautiful place, and the road in and out, you can get in from from the north or from the south, but it runs right along the river. And when the river gets high and we get a lot of rain, since we're down kind of at the bottom of the hill, the groundwater from the entire area above us does drain down this way, and it pretty much puts between 6 inches and a foot of water on the road. With 6 inches, we can get through it if we just idle and don't make big wakes. But when it gets up to a foot, even with an SUV like I have, I don't think I'd risk it. So I'll hang out there. I'll probably check back in with you maybe later in the morning. Right now, I have the biggest attendance I've ever had on a live stream. Incredible. It says here I have 239 people watching. That that's not much for somebody like Ken Berry or Anthony Chafee or Annette Bosworth, but for me, it's a new record. for this little channel, and I really appreciate it. Overnight, we had some serious winds, even though they were just Category 1. They were serious. About 6 o'clock in the morning, when I looked at the radar, I found that where I am it was smack dab in the middle of the eye, and it had calmed down. We waited, and in about a half an hour to 45 minutes later, the backside of the eye wall went by, and we had a relatively short blast of high winds, heavy rain, and we're still seeing and sitting in the fringes of the very end of the eye wall with nothing but clear blue skies coming up in a couple of hours at the latest. Great news for the entire state of Florida is that this time of year in October, it's starting to come on to fall. And it was that cold front that just tore the pants off of this storm and kept the storm surges and devastations down to something that would have just been a historic disaster for so many people. Many people who've been displaced have a real challenge ahead of them now, and I don't envy them. They don't know what they're coming home to. I've been there a few times in my history of living in Florida. I've been in a situation where we had especially Hurricane Matthew, we had bad storms. They were coming in from the Atlantic, so I evacuated to my daughter's house in Tampa. That's 3 hour drive. In other than evacuation type traffic. The power went out in my house, so I couldn't see my cameras anymore in the middle of the night. Woke up the next morning, not knowing if I had a home to go home to, and being 200 and some miles away, with no way of knowing until I got there what I would find when I got home. That, my friends, is almost akin, not quite as bad, as sitting in the waiting room while one of your loved ones is undergoing what might be life ending surgery. That feeling of not knowing is horrible. And there are millions of people right now that are going to be going through that. So my my best wishes and thoughts are out to all of them too. This is not going to settle down overnight. This is going to be years recovering. There are places that were hit yesterday that are still recovering from Ian 2 years ago, and they've been flattened again. Life sometimes isn't fair. We all choose what we want to do and where we want to live, and we know the risks, and you can't live life without some risks. So for me, at times like this, I say, is it really worth it? And then when I'm down here in the middle of the winter on a beautiful sunny day, 75, 80 degrees, blue skies, I say, yeah, it's worth it. So I guess that's a decision we all have to make. Coming up on 300 of you out there. Wow. Any more people come in, I might even start to get a little self-conscious here. But I'm glad that at least I was able to do this. I don't think I'm going to be able to acknowledge everybody in the chat because, like I say, I'm doing this on my cell phone. I have a very small screen, and all I see are maybe 3 chats off to the right, and they're really not scrolling. Maybe if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, well, that's going to make you seasick because there's so many of them. All right, let's see if they keep going. I see Jesse Farmer. The Pearl Grandma's here. How you doing? Sigrid Tams, Lisa Bass. I don't see him scrolling. I am at the bottom, so we'll see what happens. I mean, think, there we go. America circling the drain. So relieved to see you're safe. Yay, nothing personal, but it's rather, but I'd rather see the scenery. Sorry. Sorry. R. Pierce is always something. I used to live in earthquake country. Yeah. Willie Egger. First time I caught Mitch live. I think there's a lot of people here right now. It's almost 300 of you that cost me. And Lisa Boost comes and says, "Got to smoke ribs to celebrate. We're all safe." Yes. Peter's here. How you doing, Peter? Good to see you. Marcia Esterling. Question: did you guys get the tornadoes? We were very close. Yesterday, we were watching the local news that had the Doppler radar, and all of our phones went off. Tornado warning. And Patrick Air Force Base or Space Force Base is 7 miles to the south of us, right on the same intercoastal that we are. And they were tracking a tornado that came over Patrick and was heading out, and it was coming alarmingly close with their projections to where this house is. And it was not. It was a water spout out over the Atlantic, but when it got inland, it dissipated, just went away. So that was the first one. The second one, they had another confirmed, but it was about 6 miles north of us, and everything was moving north, so it was moving away. And that's as close as we came. But those feeder bands were so strong. There was so many tornado warnings that the local news team from ABC in Orlando, which I think has one of the better weather departments, uh, 24 hours a day. And all they did last night for hours was just pick out these little tornadoes from the Doppler radar and try to let everybody know which neighborhoods were in danger so the people could climb in their bathtubs and pull a mattress over their head, because that's about all you can do. You don't get a whole lot of warning. You're lucky if you get any warning. And if you do get a warning, it's usually just a couple of minutes. There was a monster tornado. I don't know if it struck down was it Fort Pierce, and just killed some people and tore up. And somebody had actually videoed it or taken a photograph of it. And it was the picture of the tornado was not like the little water spout things that we see here normally. It looked like a full blown Kansas, Oklahoma twister. It really tore things up. But that was, I think, the only serious tornado that we saw. Meanwhile, I'm sitting out here. It's time is it 9:30? Holy cow! 306 people have joined me for my morning coffee and my cigar, which of course went out. My kids both went back to bed. My grandchildren never have gotten up yet. They're still sleeping, as grandchildren do. Home from college for the storm. And yours truly is sitting out here on the back porch and looking at the scenery. And more people are climbing onto this thing, which is crazy. So what this means is that all of you who are here today, let me take this opportunity to let you know that I do 2 live streams a week. Here's a crass personal plug. I do a live stream at 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon, which I'll be doing this Saturday, and one at 8 p.m. Tuesday night that are both live streams. I do a private community live stream on Thursday. And love to see you all in there. We have a great time. You don't need my life doesn't have to be in peril for you to jump in and join us. So hopefully some of you have discovered this crazy channel of ours, this fabulous community that we have of tremendous like-minded people, health-conscious people, realists, smart, helpful people, that if you're struggling on any aspect of trying to get over those carb addictions, trying to learn how to do this lifestyle, how to finally accomplish what I was able to accomplish after all those years of failures. This is a great, great place to be to get help. There's no hype. It's all about reality, common sense. And I'm very proud of the group of viewers. Maybe not the largest group of anybody on the internet, but I would not hesitate to say probably one of the most genuine, sincere, and nicest groups of people I've ever had the privilege of being associated with in my entire life. I mean that. Wow, everybody keeps piling on. 330, 323 people. Well, all 323 of you, unfortunately, are going to have to put up with me relighting my cigar. Some things just matter. And those of you that don't approve of my cigar smoking haven't been around long enough. But this is kind of an indicator of the kind of people that we have here. I've had so many people over the course of my 1+ years being a carnivore YouTuber that have blasted me, insulted me, run for the hills. Bitch, I can't listen to you. You don't care about your health. You puff on cigars. And I've gotten rid of most of those people. I've told them to go away. And what we have left in our community is why it's the greatest community in the world, because there is no judgment in here. People are not judgmental. And I'm not judgmental of any of you. If you want to do something, it's your business. You don't need my permission or anybody else's permission. And if there are any risks, and you all know that I don't happen to think that puffing on a cigar and not inhaling are any risk at all. I think it's actually good for me and the stress relieving aspects of it and the relaxation aspects, but that's my opinion. Sometimes our opinions are wishful thinking. But the people that we have here love the fact that there is no judgment in this community, that we just try to help each other because none of us can be perfect. And it's not about being perfect, even if you're practicing this lifestyle. So I think with that, my friends, I'm going to, like I usually do, give you all the rest of the day off. I'm going to suggest that you eat meat. I'm going to shut off the camera. I'm going to sit out here. I'm going to relax. It's nice and cool out here this morning. Finish my cigar, finish my cup of coffee, and we'll get ready to face the day, hoping the power comes back on. And when the opportunity arises, I will head back home, and sometime a little later, I'll come on and let you know whether we're going to have a live stream or not tonight. So thank you all. Thank you all so very much for visiting with me this morning. Thanks for caring. For those of you that have been affected by the storm, and I know there's a lot of you out there, I've been getting comments from you. Continue to stay safe. I hope you didn't have anything too devastating or life-threatening. I know my daughter over in Tampa, right there in the middle of it all, has survived fine. Even their power didn't go off. They're in Pasco County, north of Tampa. They did have some roof shingle damage, some damage to a fence behind the house, but other than that, they're fine. And the rest of the family that stayed with them is fine. Everybody here is fine. Let's all just have a big sigh of relief that it wasn't any worse than it was. So I will see you later. I hate to shut a live stream down with 300 people watching. I guarantee you. But thanks so much for coming. Again, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.